filthy animal, and a Happy New Year.
This is the main event, Mark's Podcast. I am your host, lifelong wrestling fan, former radio guy, cat and dog dad, and just like Bigfoot and John Cena, you can't see me. I am Troy, and I have dug up some more audio goodness for all of you today. That's right, I found some old audio of Greg and I years ago on a now defunct podcast that we used to have, but this is still evergreen good stuff that I wanted to get out for you all, and it's timely because any NWA and WCW fans will gladly remember that what is December time besides Christmas, or if you're Jewish, Hanukkah and all that, besides the New Year's. If you're a real WCW fan, what does December mean? Starrcade, baby. It is the biggest show of the year, even though, I don't know, Eric Bischoff always pushed that, oh, well, I always looked at Halloween Havoc as our big show of the year. I mean, yeah, he kind of sort of booked that way, but at the same time, like, dude, it's Starrcade. Okay, it was always Starrcade 83 on up. That was the very first Starrcade. It was the show of the year. For any wrestling historians, you will know that it used to be around Thanksgiving or on Thanksgiving or whatever. It was a November show, but it was counter-programmed by Survivor Series after a while. And at that time, NWA was on the downswing, the WWF was on the uptick, and they were forced to move. I think it was Turner, when Turner bought it, he was like, yeah, we're moving it. It's a December show now. We're not competing with WWF in November, and it's going to be pre-Christmas. So, and WWF never really had like a big show around that time of year. December was not it. Survivor Series, from the time of its inception, I think it's because it's one of their first big pay-per-views. Survivor Series was always a tentpole from the beginning. It was one of the big four, but Survivor at the time, Starrcade just couldn't compete. They moved it to December, never looked back. But the only time I feel like Eric Bischoff ever booked Starrcade, it's a big show, like the big show it always should have been, was 1997, if you really think about it, because Sting had this big feud with the NWO, and with WCW. He was sort of on WCW's side for sure. He was defending the brand of WCW, but he felt betrayed by WCW, but he hated the NWO. So he was kind of his own guy, but he came in as the avenging angel, and he didn't say anything for like a year, stood up in the rafters, he grew his hair out, he wore new paint, he got a whole new outfit, whole new gimmick. If you listen to everybody who will tell the story, I guess it was Scott Hall, who they were trying to come up with something new to do for Sting, something to change him up, make him cool. I guess The Crow with Brandon Lee had come out in 1994, but for some reason that popped into Scott Hall's head. He's like, hey, let's do something like that. And they pretty much wholesale ripped off The Crow for Sting, and it made sense with the gimmick he was going with. If you ever watched The Crow, that's why they call him The Crow Sting, because he was going off of Eric Draven's look from The Crow. And it was very cool, and that's the iconic look we know of for Sting now. Not the Surfer Boy, even though, I mean, that's iconic in its own right, whatever, but when people think of Sting, they think the Crow look. That's what he spent most of his career as, and 1997 was his big coming out. It was his first match in like a year. He was taking on Hollywood Hogan for the world's heavyweight title. Just the immovable object versus the irresistible force. And it was a big, big deal. One of the biggest events in the history of WCW. It sold out. It was fantastic. And the show itself was the quality it was. But Greg and I will talk about it. We run down the whole show and everything around it. But let's get into that. Without further ado, Greg and I will review Starrcade 1997.
Overall, I liked Starrcade 1997. How about you? I remember watching it live, and like it was a huge deal.
Yeah, it was. This was seriously one of the biggest pay-per-views of the time, wasn't it?
I might argue it was the biggest pay-per-view at the time.
They built this up for a freaking year, man.
I think I might have anticipated this more than I did WrestleMania 13 that year.
Yeah, what was... I'm forgetting. What was the main event of WrestleMania 13? It was Sid, right?
It was Sid and The Undertaker. In the very building we'll be at, or we're at. Depends on when this airs.
Well, for those of you, because Greg's talking about being on the plane and whatnot, we, in record time, have not left for Chicago yet, but this is post our Survivor Series show, so letting you all know, it was great, Greg. We had so much fun doing Chicago thing. I'm just going to leave it generic like that.
What the hell does that even mean? Chicago things.
Things
pizza,
that you can only do in Chicago.
Sears Tower and flipping off Packer fans.
Yeah, we'll at least do 2 of those. So, anyway, yeah, man, this started, for those of you, we already reviewed War Games from 96, I believe, or maybe it was, Halloween Havoc 1996, I think.
Yeah, we did. That was an Agent in Cage. That was this year.
That's right.
96. What was 96?
Yeah.
Oh, Hogan
96, Hogan and Savage.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, it's got to be Hogan and a guy who wrestled in the 80s. That's right. It has to be.
Yep.
That's the rule.
You know it. Well, we talked about that. We talked about how between War Games, or Fall Brawl War Games, rather, and Halloween Havoc 1996, Sting had walked out, said he was done, said screw everybody.
Literally said
screw him.
Literally said screw him and told him to stick it.
Yep. Said, for all of you who didn't have my back, you can shove it, or whatever the hell. That was something. But he cut a great promo, historic promo. He was still short, dark-haired Sting with the multicolored face paint and bright neon tights and all that. But now he was in full Crow mode. He'd grown his hair out. He's wearing a bodysuit, all that good stuff. But this had been building up that freaking long with the NWO and all that. But the tagline for Starrcade 1997 really jumped out at me, because here are the 2 taglines. Hogan's a colorful guy, but his nightmare's black and white.
Kind of ironic.
Yeah, right? I'm like, is he a colorful guy, though? Because he wears black and white in the NWO. So, what? And then the other tagline, this one's a little bit better. It's, paybacks are hell. That one actually, it doesn't sound super lame. WCW's taglines for pay-per-views, man. Just, gosh.
Yeah, their marketing wasn't their strong suit.
Yeah, and Eric Bischoff talked about how their marketing and their advertising for shows had to be in like 6 months in advance or some crap like that, and which is why if you go back to 1996, there was stuff post NWO, like the cover of, was it Hog Wild 96?
Yes, that was the only Hog Wild. Yes.
Okay, yeah, Hog Wild 1996. The poster is Hulk Hogan in red and yellow on a red and yellow motorcycle.
They couldn't get someone to black and white that up.
Apparently that had to be in like way ahead of time, and he said they didn't have the resources and the funding to go back and fix it.
Funding? You color in it with a crayon.
Well, they had already distributed the picture to where it needed to be. So I don't know, because I guess it was like a third party company that would put out the posters and the video pictures and all that crap. I don't understand the semantics of it, but according to him, it was impossible to fix it. I don't know. It was weird.
All right, I'll buy it just for the sake of getting on.
Yeah.
Getting on with it. Let's go.
But the event became the biggest grossing pay-per-view in WCW history. Starrcade drew a buy rate of 1.9, the best that company ever achieved. That's actually a pretty damn big buy rate, 1.9.
And who was that idiot that was saying Sting wasn't a draw?
Who did say Sting wasn't a draw?
It was someone Uncle Dave was arguing with.
Oh, good Lord.
It wasn't just a fan. It was like somebody. I just forget who, but yeah.
Wow. Who the hell would ever say that Sting wasn't a draw?
I don't know.
I mean, I guess you could say this whole thing was Hogan's drawing power, but that was another one. I was just messaging you earlier that in the Observer, you and I go back in the archives. We cover the entire year of 1995, but the opening
Why
promo,
we don't know.
because we like torturing ourselves. But that was the year of the very first World War III. And leading up to that show, Hogan had turned to the dark side to go against the Dungeon of Doom, and he was wearing all black. Foreshadowing, pal. At the opening promo for the show, he throws his black attire in a burn barrel, and he burns it. And then he holds up a copy of the Wrestling Observer and talking about the dirt rags and whatever have been saying this and saying that. Basically, everything Uncle Dave said was going to happen kind of did happen, and then Hogan made fun of him for guessing it all right in the promo, which was a little counterintuitive. But then he's like, "Observe this," and he threw it into the burn barrel. I was like, my God, that was just atrocious. But then Uncle Dave said that Hogan's drawing power would continue to dwindle, and he would grow more and more bitter. How'd that work out for him, Greg?
Yeah. Oh, he just, reinvented the industry again.
Yeah, he reinvented himself. He blew up. He became the biggest star in the business for a second time, had a career resurgence in the late 90s, a decade after his first big run. But no, his drawing power would continue to dwindle, and he'd become very bitter. Whatever. It's just...
Uncle Dave said...
Well, yeah. Therefore, it is.
True story.
Despite the show's success, however, this card has been seen by many people as pivotal in the downfall of WCW, as it set the tone for backstage dissension and poor creative decisions going forward. I can see why some people would think that.
Yeah.
Since
one incident, but, it only takes a snowflake, right?
Yep. Hey, it's, we'll get to all of it, but... Since his formation in July of 1996, the New World Order had been a dominant force to set all this up. Hollywood Hogan, who was their leader, obviously, had been the WCW World's Heavyweight Champion for most of the preceding year. Most of the WCW programming in 97 revolved around Sting, whose character changed into a mysterious Avenger. It's funny that he would become one later on in WWE, but not quite copy the success, I guess. But he watched from the rafters of the arena, didn't speak much, and, didn't speak at all, actually. He soon showed his opposition to the NWO and challenged Hogan to a match for the title at Starrcade. Do you remember that? What was it, a vulture or some crap?
I think it was a vulture, yeah.
That flew.
Yeah, it was a vulture.
Yeah, Sting was standing up in the nosebleeds, and he had a vulture on his arm. It flew off, and it was supposed to land on the ring ropes or whatever and have a note that said, I want Hogan or some crap like that. And it didn't work well. I can't remember what the hell happened. The vulture flew somewhere it wasn't supposed to.
Well, it landed on the rope. I think it dropped the note.
Oh, that was okay.
Because if you go back and watch, it's on the rope. And Nash is pretending come at it with a baseball bat. Yeah.
He's going to beat a bird to death on live TV.
Good Lord, you do that today, Pete is all over you.
Oh, gosh, yeah. But, yeah, there was that. There was another one where Hogan opened up a gift, and it had been switched out by Sting. And when he opened the gift, it was a replica of Hulk Hogan's head in the box. And Hogan acted terrified. Just a bunch of head games, no pun intended. But in reality, Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff, the executive vice president of WCW, disagree over the outcome of the match. This resulted in the planned ending that, we'll get to it. Late in 97, by the way, it involved Bret Hart. Bret Hart was at this show. He was a pivotal point. In 97, Bret Hart was a top star in WWF and eventually fell victim to the Montreal Screwjob, now in the archives. Go check it out. He defected to WCW, and Hart was, this resulted in Hart losing the title in the Screwjob, and he debuted in WCW. Was this show his debut?
Who?
Hart.
Yeah, well, his pay-per-view debut.
Okay, well, was he on for this? Because
he was on Nitro a couple of times. Yeah, he was announced as the referee And
Okay.
and Bischoff thought he had him in his back pocket. He said he's not in the NWO. It made Bischoff mad. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because he was announced as guest referee for the Bischoff-Zbyszko match, which we will get to. The outcome of the match between Hogan and Sting at Starrcade was inspired by the Montreal Screwjob. And
if you're going to copy anything, why not copy that?
Yeah. Hart hasn't been able to live that down since 1990 freaking 7. Like, gosh. But yeah, Hogan and Sting made everything official at a pre-taped press conference. It was supposed to be live, but it was definitely pre-taped at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. It aired on October 28th, 1997 on TNT during a commercial break for the premiere of Hogan's new cable movie, Assault on Devil's Island, and it drew a 4.2 cable rating. On the same night on USA Network that they played a Survivor Series flashback show for WWF that only drew a 2.8. So WCW was in full ass-kicking mode in the ratings at this time.
Was that the one with Apollo Creed from Rocky? I think, Withers was in it, right?
I think
Carl Withers was in it.
So. Get some heavy hitters in that movie. I've never heard of this film other than in this context. Assault on Devil's Island. Was it? Did you ever watch it?
I saw it when it came on. I don't remember what it was though. I remember watching it though.
And yet you still haven't seen Mr. Nanny. How dare you?
I know. I should go to hell for that.
Straight to hell. There's a lot more, but that's the tall and short of it. We'll get into the actual show. All right, we are here. Starrcade 1997, as I said, took place December 28th, 1997 at the MCI Center in Washington, D.C. The attendance was 17,500. I want to say that's a sellout crowd, but
well, 17,000. It's a safe bet.
Yeah. So Tony Schiavone put over on commentary that scalpers had been out all day. I don't know why. I don't know why you'd promote scalpers out there all day, but I get it.
Well, it makes them look good, I guess.
Yeah, but this was a big show, man. This was in Washington, D.C., where AEW had their very first ever Dynamite show. So Washington, D.C.'s played a part of a lot of wrestling history, I guess. And it's where Big Dave Batista's from. That's the best of them all.
He'll tell you.
Yeah, well, at least it's not Dayton.
Why does that offend you so much?
Because he's like, well, it brought me back in Dayton. I'm like, yeah, and they sold the freaking house out. Do you know how hard that is to do in Dayton, by the way? Like, you can't draw flies to crap in that arena. So him and Bret Hart sold that damn place out.
Oh, I know of another arena somewhere in Dayton that can sell out in like 2 minutes, but...
Shut the F up. The first match here, sticking with the usual for WCW, it's a cruiserweight title match. Eddie Guerrero defends against Dean Malenko.
I remember this being a classic.
Oh yeah, these two were guys that no matter where they were wrestling, it was great. Even as much as you and I bag on everything ECW, their stuff in ECW against each other was classic stuff. And it was a break from the hardcore stuff on the card. So Malenko had the advantage from the start of the match. Guerrero fought back briefly by attacking Malenko's left leg, but Malenko regained the advantage. This continued until Guerrero countered a suplex and targeted the knee with the use of the ring post and ring steps. Guerrero hit a missile drop kick and a frog splash both to the knee of Malenko and pinned him to win the match and retain the title. I thought that was pretty innovative stuff. I haven't seen a lot of people attack the leg like that.
You work the leg, man.
Working the leg. But for real, he hit a missile drop kick to the thigh, and then right after he hit the frog splash, not to the.
See, I always thought he had missed it, hit the leg by accident.
Yeah, I thought that
it
too.
It looks terrible when you go back and look at it, but if that's what he's aiming for, it looks perfect then.
Yeah. Yeah, it looked. I thought it looked good because he might have missed it, but it worked out in the end. So whatever. But yeah, I said this was a great opener, one of the best matches, if not the best match on the card. There's not a lot of stinkers on this card, but there's not a lot of matches to write home about. Oh man, that was fantastic, you know.
Oh, wait till you get to the next one, actually. I'm pretty sure this is a 10-star right here. It's even outside of the Tokyo Dome.
Gosh. Well, this next match that we're going to be talking about, we'll get to it in a minute, but one of the matches that was supposed to be taking place on this card is riddled with injuries. That's another thing we need to talk about. This card was like freaking cursed because, I think Kevin Nash was hurt, or did he just not show up? I still don't know.
Well, I know he was at the next pay-per-view, so...
Yeah, because the whole thing was Kevin Nash was supposed to face the Giant, because was this after Nash dropped the Giant on his head from a jackpot?
That's the next month.
Oh, okay. Well, Nash had been calling himself the real Giant and been starting crap with the Giant, a.k.a. Big Show.
Yeah, because that's something to feud about.
Oh, well, yeah. Who's bigger? I am. Sounds like a Baron Corbin feud. But Nash and Big Paul White were feuding over who the biggest Giant was, the real Giant, whatever. Nash no-showed this show. I don't know why. I don't know if he was injured, if he just didn't come. I don't know. It's something. But either way, Scott Hall, of all people, I like how Kevin Nash wasn't there, but Scott Hall was.
Yeah, when's the last time you said that?
Yeah, right, how the tables have turned. Or, well, how the tables would turn in the future, I guess. But Hall came out in his street clothes. He does a survey time and says that Nash won't be there tonight. Doesn't give an explanation, just says he won't be there. And he calls out the Giant, calls him a big goof, says, get out here so they can declare him the victor by forfeit. The Giant finally comes out and he just beats the tar out of Hall, like picking him up and dropping him over and over. And the Giant leaves, and then the NWO B team comes out to help Hall to the back.
What do you mean B team?
I mean what I said.
It was Vincent and Scott Norton. You shut your mouth.
Oh, well, excuse me.
You're forgiven.
Yeah. Well, this next match, speaking of riddled with injuries, not that the guy who didn't make it was going to make it any better.
Got prophecy with that.
I think this one guy was injured. I don't know. Again, I don't know why he wasn't there. But it was the NWO consisting of Scott Flash Norton, Vincent, and a mystery partner who would replace Conan. I don't. Again, Conan just wasn't there. I think he was injured, but he could have been stuck in. I don't know if he was still working Mexico at the time. I don't know. But they took on this team. It was the Steiner brothers and Ray Traylor, a.k.a. Big Bubba, a.k.a. the Big Boss Man, whatever the hell.
I like how Big Bubba's your first a.k.a. Like, that's the first one to remember him from.
Well, it was WCW, so that's the first thing I go to. But they're with Ted DiBiase. So earlier in this year, they had Sold Out, correct?
No, Sold Out's in the next month.
NWO Sold Out?
It was January, so it's coming up.
Wait, January of 1998 is when they do NWO Sold Out? No, I think you're
multiple.
No, I'm talking the first one where the NWO takes over the whole arena.
Yeah, that was the first one.
That was 97, right?
Yeah.
So, well, it had to be. Yeah. So
I didn't know you were jumping 11 months back. Sorry.
Well, I'm thinking of the fact that Ray Traylor and Ted DiBiase were a part of the NWO at that show. I don't know what happened between then and now.
Well, Ray Traylor got kicked out, I believe, and he became a face. It looked like they were trying to push him. And DiBiase said he got sick and tired of them pushing him around, and he saw the light and decided to manage the Steiner brothers.
That is the weakest excuse I've ever heard. Wow. And Ray Traylor, I was a fan of his, but him in the NWO is just why?
Yeah, but there's a lot of people you can say that about.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's why it's look, Ray, you don't fit in here. You got to go. By the way, Vincent, thanks for coming in. You can stay. It's funny to see Vincent and Ted DiBiase on opposite sides of the ring, by the way, and Ted is the face and Vincent's the heel. Did you think about that?
I did until now.
Yeah. But yeah, and the other weird thing about this is the Steiner brothers are wearing black and white attire.
Yeah, and they switch shoes if you look too. So they have
Yeah, one black
is,
shoe and one white.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're both wearing white singlets. I think Scott had a black weight belt. I'm like, why are you wearing NWO colors when you're facing the NWO?
Well, to be fair, Sting was too.
Yeah, but I mean, that was his gimmick. The Steiners, like...
Well, yeah, but it's even more of an arguable point later when he joins the Wolfpack and changes it to red and black, making you look like black and white the whole time he was at the NWO. So this whole thing go around in circles.
I know. I just... I guess that was a big thing with Jimmy Hart back in the day. Like, Eric Bischoff said he used to drive him crazy with, like, the little details like that. He's like, baby, they can't all be wearing the same colors, baby. You think they're all on the same team? I'm like, okay. That stuff does bug me, though, because I'm like, who's on whose team? I think you and I had that, we're talking about that issue with, in AEW. It was, like, the Best Friends and the team of, like, Angelico and Chucky T were all wearing... like the same color scheme.
Yeah.
So I hate it. But either way, the mystery partner to replace Conan, they stepped it the hell up. It was the Macho Man Randy Savage, and he had Miss Elizabeth by his side, even though they weren't married anymore.
Do you like how stupid that is, though? They go from way down here to up here. I mean, it's almost insulting the Macho Man if you think about it. Like, really think about it.
Well,
yeah, we can't get Conan. I guess we'll use Macho Man.
I get that line of thinking, but the old wrestling adage is supposed to be like, well, if you can't deliver on what you promised, get something equal or greater.
Okay, true. But, like, he's a major star. They had nothing else for him this night. He's going a throwaway 6-man.
Yep. Well, what was he doing?
Keep in mind, Mongo's got a match coming up. Not to jump ahead, but Savage doesn't have a match.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
The match started with the NWO having the advantage over Scott Steiner. Scott fought back with a double underhook powerbomb, and WCW gained the advantage. Vincent was dominated by Ray Traylor, who missed a big splash. NWO attacked Traylor until Rick Steiner tagged in. Steiner's double-teamed Vincent, and Scott performed an elevated DDT. It was actually it was pretty cool, but dangerous as hell. It looked dangerous. Rick picked him up like an electric chair, and then Scott jumped off the top rope and grabbed him for a DDT. I was like, damn. As Scott Steiner was attempting a Frankensteiner on Randy Savage, Scott Norton stopped him and performed an electric chair drop. Savage then hit the diving elbow drop for the win. So, at least Macho got the pinfall in the end, I guess.
Well, he better have.
Yeah, it's like, look, Mach, I know you're a huge star, and you've really pulled your weight, and you're one of the biggest stars in the NWO. But we got to throw you in with a B team. But hey, on the good side, you get the win, so there's that.
No, to be fair, two of those guys would be champions later. So if you want to count Scott Norton as the IWGP champ, but
yeah, he's huge in Japan.
It's not like he was in there with like clunkers. It was a throwaway match.
Yeah, it was just more NWO versus WCW, which, whatever, I don't know. Mean Gene Okerlund calls out J.J. Dillon onto the stage, and Dillon says that the name of every referee in WCW was put into a drawing to it was supposed to make it fair. Whatever name they drew, he would be the referee for the main event, and it was supposed to, so they didn't get a crooked referee. Well, out of that drawing, they chose the name of Nick Patrick, who was the crooked referee that was in the NWO's back pocket. So what the hell?
Well, he was exonerated. They forgave him later.
Oh, well. But it's like, okay, Halloween Havoc 1997. Wasn't he just doing some underhanded BS for the NWO on that card?
I think so, yeah. I think between then and now, yeah.
Yeah, between October and December, you know what? It's okay. You can referee the big main event. Like, F off.
Not to jump ahead, but going off of the planned finish, clearly he was going to give WCW the finger again.
Yeah. Like, that's like if you're caught stealing at work and for some reason they're like, okay, we're going to give you another chance. By the way, you're doing inventory next week. Like, what the F, man? Speaking of what the F, next match, Goldberg versus Steve Mongo McMichael, both of which I have Marvel figures of, by the way.
I don't have a figure of Goldberg. I gotta get one.
I have a Marvel figure of him in his Marvel Toys is who used to make the WCW figures, by the way, for those of you who don't know.
Yep, and they just repurposed TNA figures. So
yes, they freaking did.
And I did them for TNA figures. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that until I got I think it was a Christopher Daniels. It came with like a breakable police line thing. It was the same one, just a different color that I got with my Lex Luger.
Well, the trash can that came with Raven on the bottom of it clearly says WCW.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, that Goldberg figure came with like a Rey Mysterio that you could beat up on. Did you ever know that?
Yeah, I had that one.
Yeah, that was.
And they had like a little loose belt so you can hold them up for the jackhammer.
Oh yeah, yep. And he came with the WCW title too. But yeah, I have him in the. I've said it before. I got that Mongo in like a Four Horsemen 4-pack. So that is the reason I have a freaking Mongo. I didn't seek him out and was like, man, what? I need a Mongo. My collection will not be complete until I get a Steve Mongo McMichael. Damn it!
Don't you have 2 Rob Conways?
I do. I am proud of that.
There it is. Enough said.
Yep. But this match, man, this feud. You want to hear more about this feud?
Go back. We've already done this match. Yeah, like we already done this match before. It's happened again on pay-per-view. Not Nitro or Thunder. Pay-per-view.
Yeah. Well, the match started from the entrance ramp and went back and forth. Goldberg hit a spear at one point that led to a near fall. Goldberg went outside to set up a table that was, for some reason, laying against the side of the ring.
Well, why wouldn't it be?
Yeah, I mean, granted, we talked about the difference between, like, Mexican, Japanese, and American wrestling and how that's just not a thing in Mexico and Japan where they have, random freaking weapons under the ring like in America. Why the hell is there a table under the ring? What purpose does that serve practically? I'm like, shut your mouth.
Just sit down and eat lunch when they're setting up. I don't know.
Yeah, they're at ringside, right on the. They don't go back to catering. They just set up shop right there in front of the ring,
like construction workers or something.
Yeah, but either way,
there's also Gatorade under there at times too. I've noticed. So there you go.
That one makes sense because it's like, well, there's.
How does it not tie in with the table?
Why do you need a table to drink Gatorade?
Sometimes you just want to kick back and relax and play some cards and drink some Gatorade.
God dang it!
Why are you making it so difficult?
Because it's stupid. But this was even dumber. WCW is like, look, these guys are both too big and stupid to remember, hey, grab the table out from under the ring. So we're going to make it really simple for them and put it right out there. It's like, hey, don't forget this. So
all the while worrying they're still going to forget it.
Yeah, it probably were. But Goldberg grabbed it. He set it up in front of the ring because reasons. By the way, this was not a no disqualification match. Keep that in mind. But
can I just say real quick, the payoff for this table is remarkable.
Oh, it's something. Goldberg goes in. He goes to power slam Mongo, like off his shoulder over the top rope through the table. Well, that doesn't work out. Mongo blocks it and lands on the apron. And Goldberg punches him in the face, and he goes flying back through the table.
Yeah, and it looks terrible.
Yes. Mongo looks like he legit kind of hurt himself a little bit. Goldberg goes out, picks him up, rolls him in the ring. Mongo stands right up, starts beating up on Goldberg. Totally no-selling that damn table. But, he hurt his back. So, he hurt his back a little bit going through that table. That's all that happened. So he couldn't get Goldberg up for the tombstone. So that means that Goldberg's able to take advantage and hit the jackhammer for the win. God, that sucked. It was all kind of suck with this. Like, the match itself was, it was rough, but it wasn't, like, the worst thing I'd ever seen. But this was right before Goldberg exploded into one of the biggest stars the business had ever seen. And he was wrestling frickin' Mongo on the biggest show of the year.
Pay your dues, I guess.
Yeah, there's no bigger paying of dues than taking on Steve Mongo McMichael.
You buried him like 3 times already.
And he came out just like the only thing he could do was put up the 4 fingers because for some reason he was in the 4 Horsemen.
If you look at it, he was probably the most proud horseman too. He did it all the time. like Vincent with the Too Sweet.
Yeah, he was just happy to be there, which is fine, I guess. But why? Why was he there? That's my question.
Reasons.
You don't have an answer either.
I just going to use yours. Reasons.
Yeah, because F you, that's why. I guess it's better than Paul Roma by default, but is it really? I don't know. We're wrapping up Starrcade 1997. You personally chose it, Greg, and I wasn't too upset about covering this one. It was a unique show. It was a big show. Probably not Paul White, but like we talked about, the biggest show.
Slow, but
the biggest show in WCW history, but there's still plenty of stuff to cover. I talked about injuries really and no shows really plaguing this show and crapping on things that were planned. Well, check this out. This next match was Saturn versus Chris Benoit in a Ravens rules match, which is apparently anything goes. The match was scheduled to be Raven and Chris Benoit, and in kayfabe, Raven chose not to compete, and he chose Saturn to replace him because Saturn was a member of the Flock. I think in reality, Raven was injured, and I'll get more into that here in the finish. You can kind of tell. The match started with Benoit having the advantage as they fought outside the ring. However, the Flock came out of the audience and attacked Benoit. Saturn then dominated Benoit and targeted his neck. As Saturn climbed the turnbuckles, Benoit pushed him to the outside. Benoit applied the crippler crossface on Saturn, but the Flock attacked him again. Benoit took them all out except for Raven. He grabbed Raven by the jacket and did nothing physical to him. That's why I'm thinking he was probably injured, because his first move with everybody was just beat the crap out of him, but with Raven, he just grabs him.
He just came into WCW like a few months prior, too.
Probably. But Raven took advantage of this. He hit the even flow DDT, and then Saturn locked in the rings of Saturn. Benoit was knocked out, and Saturn won the match. This was okay for what it was, but with what's coming up next, this was just another overbooked match. What did you think of this?
Same. I'm like, my God, how many times is someone going to get involved in this?
I know. It's like somebody's got to play Superman. There's got to be a million geeks involved. It's just...
Oh, at least we got Lodi in his signs. That was cool.
Oh, well. Yes, that. I
like how he had a sign that just said Rings of Saturn, letting him know what the move was called, by the way.
He was the poor man's attempt, and it's ironic that I say that considering what I'm going to compare it to, but he was the poor man's attempt to recreate Sign Guy Dudley.
The poor man's Sign Guy Dudley. Holy crap.
Who was
How do you
already...
get more low than that?
Yeah. He was the poor guy's Sign Guy Dudley, who was already the poor man's Sign Guy Dudley. So, yeah, just think about that for a little bit.
I got a question about the Flock, though.
Yeah?
Why was Naked Midian never in it?
Because he was never a part of WCW, I guess. I guess
the right answer is he was already deflocked, but whatever.
What the hell? Speaking of packages, Buff Bagwell took on Lex Luger up next, who was the total package.
This is gonna sound weird, but this match wasn't as bad as people say it is.
No, the finish I thought was...
Oh God, it was WCW.
Something.
The finish sucked ass, but yeah, I mean the match was pretty decent.
God, you ain't kidding. Luger had the early advantage until a distraction from, of all people, Vincent, because, got to get more of him on the show.
And I got to point out he was doing the Too Sweet sign multiple times, like we were just talking about.
Well, hell yeah. But it allowed Bagwell to fight back. Bagwell dominated Luger until near the end. Luger hit Bagwell, or rather had Bagwell in the torture rack, but the referee was bumped at this point and knocked out completely. And then Randy Savage and Scott Norton come down. Got to get, because you got to make sure everybody knows Savage is hanging out with the B team right now. It's just got to drive that home.
Holy crap. I didn't even realize that, but yeah. Oh my God.
But Luger...
Hold on real quick. I'm sorry. So he didn't have a match, but he had two appearances with he didn't have a scheduled match, but he had two appearances with the B team.
Yep. Had to jackhammer his ass in there with these guys. And
I guess you can get away with saying he was gonna feud or was feuding with Luger for a minute too.
Yeah.
I guess if you really want to nitpick, like why?
Still, like, gosh, like I love how like
Sorry,
in kayfabe, Vincent and Scott Norton were like, "Damn it, Conan's out. We need a heavy hitter to replace him. Hey, Mach, you're free, right?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'll come down to the ring with you and take on the Steiners." Like, what? Like, why is Savage lowering himself? Like, I mean, I don't know. There's reasons, but it's just dumb.
I'm just going to ignore that you said lowering himself, like that's a demotion or something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hanging out with Vincent and Scott Norton. God. Well, I hope Vincent hooked him up with some meat sauce.
He definitely took him to the Olive Garden after.
Yeah, and they paid with F money.
You could paint it green. He could play it black.
The hell.
Go listen to that song he sings on Sam Roberts' show. He could paint it green.
No?
Paint it black, just like me. A whole bunch of crap.
Yeah, it sounds like a whole bunch of crap. What the hell?
I'll send you the link later.
Yeah, I don't want to hear a song sung by Curly Bill. All right.
Your loss.
But either way, Savage and Norton came out there while Luger had the torture rack on Bagwell. He lets Bagwell go, and he puts Savage in the torture rack. Then Norton comes up, kicks him pretty low, and then nails him with a foreign object. They never did say what the hell it was, but I think it was a slapjack. Bagwell then pinned Luger to win the match. This was boring and made Luger look like a superhero while also making the four other guys look like complete losers.
And one of those other guys was the Macho Man.
Because when I think, who's the Macho Man hanging out with this evening? I'm thinking Buff Bagwell, Vincent, and Scott Norton. Seems
You're
like
not
his
going
kind
to
of
let that
crew.
go.
It pisses me off so much because I loved Macho Man. How you feel about Hulk Hogan? I felt that way about Macho. So
No, I get it. Just it's like you're like genuinely pissed off.
I am. This is gonna bug me for a while, and this happened like 2 decades ago.
Also, it doesn't help that this is their big show too.
Yeah. Well, up next, another childhood favorite of mine. Kurt Hennig defended the WCW US title against Diamond Dallas Page. Hennig was a member of the NWO. It was originally going to be Ric Flair facing Hennig for the title, and it was going to be contested inside of a cage. However, 2 weeks earlier on Nitro, Flair was injured at the hands of Hennig and the NWO.
Again.
So I was going to say, is this twice in 1 year? Like, come on. What did they do to him? Do you remember?
I forget what they did this time, but I remember they slammed the cage door in his head the first time.
Yeah, which would have led perfectly to a cage match at this show. But, alas, didn't happen. So I guess technically that's another replacement. But if you're going to replace Ric Flair in 1997, DDP is a pretty good guy to slip in there.
Probably his hottest year.
Yes, 97 and 98 were like DDP, man.
I say that, and it's funny, he didn't get his first world title till 99. But
Yeah, it's
or,
weird.
No, 98. It was 98. No, 99.
The match, was it April?
April 99, yeah. But still, I think this was his hottest period.
Yeah. Well, this was when he was really, really heating up. He was wearing the jeans. He was wearing the
Consistent rib tape.
Yeah, which were below his ribs, so they didn't really help. I don't know. It's just I never got that. The match started back and forth until Hennig performed a hangman and gained the advantage. Hennig targeted Page's injured ribs that we just talked about. Page fought back after fighting out of a chin lock with a jawbreaker. DDP attacked Hennig outside the ring and pulled Hennig's groin into the ring post. They then exchanged attacks, and Page pinned Hennig after doing a running slide over the back into a diamond cutter. Conrad Thompson brought this up on one of his podcasts, and I don't disagree. In 97 and 98, this was probably either number 2 or tied for the hottest finish in the business. Would you agree?
Hell yeah.
This only second to possibly the Stone Cold Stunner, I would say. And both of them you could hit quick. Anybody could do them. It was like bam out of nowhere.
Got massive pops.
Hell yeah. DDP
wasn't. I got to point out, it was not overused either.
Yeah, he didn't hit a million of them in a match.
Austin did later, but
yeah, and nobody took a diamond cutter real weird though. Like everybody took the stunner different. But DDP, when he won the title, he went through the crowd, which was his thing back in the day because he was the people's champ before The Rock started calling himself that. And I forget to mention, like anybody who wasn't on the card was sitting in the crowd watching the show, which seemed like a great use for the talent, by the way.
Yeah. Well, hold on. But to be very fair, there's a reason. So just,
Yeah. They were putting over the whole everybody wanted to see the NWO go down thing, so all the WCW talent showed up.
They all did the same thing in August when Luger won the title for a cup of coffee.
Yeah. They overused this, man. Like all the time. They did this back in 95 when Flair took on Arn Anderson for the first time. Now in the archives,
well, that was
check
historic,
that out.
though. I mean,
it was, but they have monitors in the backstage. I don't know. It's just WWF, by the way, never has done this to my knowledge.
They did it somewhat last year, but they weren't out in the crowd. But remember, they were all gathered on the TV watching the whole Kofi story unfold.
Yeah, I mean see right there, they have monitors backstage,
Yeah.
like normal people.
Oh man!
But here's the thing: I noticed a face in the crowd that I kind of was like, "Whoa, what?" I forget the timeline of his untimely passing. I saw Louis Spicolli in the crowd.
If I remember right, I think he passes away in a couple of months.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's in like January because he's supposed to have a match at Sold Out, I think against Zbyszko, and I think he passes away a couple of days before.
Dang.
Yeah.
You want to know what his name in Mexico was, by the way?
Do I?
Madonna's boyfriend.
Oh, I knew that actually. That's right. I didn't know it was him, but I knew that name.
Yeah, because I didn't put two and two together because at first they were calling him Louis Spicolli, and then they switched to calling him Madonna's boyfriend. It's on When Worlds Collide 1994. So, which is on YouTube in its entirety, by the way, because it's a co-branded show, WCW and AAA. So it can't be on the network. But I said this match was fine. DDP was on fire, super over, as we said. I expected more from Curt Hennig, but I think he was kind of past his prime in '97. Like, I don't know. Not that his matches were bad.
I think he had chronic illnesses in his back too, so I think he said it slowed him down a lot.
Yeah, he was not the same Curt Hennig that I. Basically, I mean, Curt Hennig in WCW was good. He did some good stuff, but he wasn't Mr. Perfect, And it wasn't necessarily his fault. It just, the cards he was dealt. But this next match, man, Eric Bischoff with Scott Hall in his corner took on Larry Zbyszko for control of WCW Nitro.
Yeah.
Special guest referee, Bret Hart.
Can we talk for a second about how this is kind of an AWA reunion?
It was, except for Hart. But yeah, you got Scott Hall, Eric Bischoff, Larry Zbyszko, all out there. First of all, this was during a time when Zbyszko and Bischoff were not embarrassed to go shirtless. So
Bischoff actually didn't look too bad, to be fair.
Yeah, he looked like, he had actually seen a gym once or twice in his life. Zbyszko was old, but he was still in pretty good shape. Like, he looked like he could still go, and had, like, one more run left in him,
Yeah. I mean, this was kind of his last run when you think about it.
It was, yeah. He was in pretty good... He looked like he was in good ring shape. I would have liked to seen more from him. But, yeah, and he was over, man. The crowd loved him.
I mean, he was over so much you'd think he came out of a box.
God, came out of a box with a giant Z on it for Zbyszko. Mother ever. Came out of a Minnesota box. But I will say, this match, man, was like 11 minutes long on the biggest show of the year and involved a former, like a retired wrestler and a man who had never wrestled a day in his life.
I gotta say, as bad as it was, and I'm not to speak like Bischoff, but the story was great.
I mean, it was, and the match itself was fine for what it was, but holy crap, man.
Okay, I'll say this: it wouldn't have been as watchable as it was if Brett wasn't the referee.
Right.
That
it
adds
seemed like
a lot to it.
To a certain extent, it seemed like a giant wank fest with, or Bischoff got to be in the ring with one of his heroes. It was like, my God, this is going to go on for 10 minutes. That'd be like, say I was I could book a match in WWE and I booked myself against The Undertaker for, frickin' 10 minutes, like, I'm just throwing that out there because he's my favorite. But it's like, come on, man. But the match began with Zbyszko having the advantage, shocker, but Hart appeared to be favoring Bischoff, stopping Zbyszko from using certain attacks and holds. Hart pulled Zbyszko away, and this allowed Bischoff to kick him in the head at one point. Bischoff continues with his kicks and punches, doing a lot of karate stuff, but he got tired, and Zbyszko came back, and he put Bischoff in the Tree of Woe at one point, and Hart pulled him away, and this allowed Scott Hall to get up on the apron. He placed a steel plate under the kick pad of Bischoff's foot, and when Bischoff finally got out of it, he kicked Zbyszko in the head with the steel plate. Bret Hart appeared to be raising Bischoff's hand in victory, but then knocked him down. Scott Hall came in, and Hart beat him down and then locked in the sharpshooter on Hall, and then Zbyszko choked out Eric Bischoff. Hart then awarded Zbyszko the victory via disqualification for Bischoff using the steel plate. So it seemed like they were setting up Bret Hart to be, to compare it to something in WWE, like what the Shield was about, like, justice, or like what they brought Sting in to do, be the vigilante. Seemed like they were kind of on this show setting him up like that. Am I wrong?
No. And they kind of did do that for a while, but then, the NWO happened.
Yeah.
Because if you're a big star from WWE, you got to join the NWO.
Which made total sense because we all know how famously Bret Hart got along with the Click guys.
Yeah, right. And Hogan, for that matter.
Oh, yeah. He loved him. My God. He wrote glowing things about him in his book. But now we're here, man. The main event, it was Hollywood Hulk Hogan defending the WCW World title against Stang.
Ah, you got it right.
Yeah. I gotta give Michael Buffer's intro here just a little taste of it for what it was for Hogan, because they're so effing goofy. He's iconic, but god dang, his intros were goofy.
Iconic!
Gosh. He said this about Hogan. Coming to the ring at this time, wearing black and weighing 275 pounds, the man who is known all around the world by all sports fans and wrestling fans. His name is a household word. I didn't realize that Hollywood Hogan was a word.
Or a couple.
Yeah. His face and persona are known on all 7 continents. Well, that's good, because I was afraid that Antarctica didn't know him.
Hey, those penguins, man, they love them some Hulk, all right?
Hell yeah. Tonight, he faces the greatest challenge of his career. Tonight, he faces the most enigmatic and mysterious challenger in the history of professional wrestling. Wait till 1998 when he takes on another face-painted guy who uses smoke and mirrors.
At least this was somewhat good.
Yeah. You know what, man? Well, I'll get to that in a minute. Sting had a freaking cool-ass entrance, by the way, that still holds up today. Just, if you're going to watch this match for anything, make it the entrance. He had like a laser light show in the ceiling. He had it was cool. Like the lightning effect. This match started off with Hogan delivering some attacks.
It was like a play on Michael Jordan coming out in the arena back then. That's what it was like.
Yeah, I can see that. And that was cool back in the 90s. I mean, it's cool today, but, The match started with Hogan delivering some attacks. Sting fought back with drop kicks and applied the side headlock. Hogan sent Sting out of the ring and attacked him with the ring post and guardrail. Hogan performed a big boot and pin, then pinned Sting for a 3 count after a leg drop. However, Bret Hart came down and attacked Nick Patrick and claimed that he counted the pinfall fast, even though he didn't. It was a normal 3 count. And he restarted the match with himself as the referee. Sting hit the Stinger Splash and locked in the Scorpion Deathlock. Hart called for the bell, and Sting won the title. All the WCW wrestlers hit the ring to celebrate with Sting, who looked at the camera after not speaking for a year and said, "Mamacita." And then the show went off the air.
I didn't know what to say about that, by the way. He's not even kind of Mexican, but whatever. I mean, not that you have to be Mexican to say that, but it would make more sense.
Yeah.
What do white people say when we're happy? I don't know.
Hell if I know. This whole thing, man, was just what the F. Like,
first of all, like, why did they not just edit out the account on the network if they want to make it?
Well, I don't think. I mean, I don't think WWE cares that WCW had a botch.
Yeah, that's
finish.
true. I guess that's true.
But Bischoff claimed they had to do a funky finish, whatever, because Sting showed up out of shape and untanned and not ready to work and blah, blah, blah. So they came up with this debacle instead of just having him beat Hogan clean. What the F? How did this make it better? Even if the fast count would have worked, how did that make it better?
I mean, it just made him look like a wuss who lost to got a second chance, to me.
Yeah, I'm like, what the hell? It didn't kill him. He still went on to be a huge star, and this was a thing. But, like, damn, this was bad. And,
well, you know, to be fair, like one thing Bischoff said on his podcast that I really stuck with me. It's like, when that happened, I didn't think about that, though. I was just happy seeing it. So it's like, you have to see his point there. I know all the smarks and all the internet people are going to see that, but all I remember is my reaction when it happened. We were, like, jumping around the room, happy as hell. But
you were actually happy that Hogan lost?
Yeah, I was happy Sting won. I hated Hogan. He was heel. Yeah.
I thought you would still hold on to him.
No way. Not till the next year when he turned face again, or 99. Yeah.
Your lack of vitamins and prayers disturbed me, Greg. But yeah, this was something. I don't know why the hell just this all went down. And there's a rumor that Hogan told Patrick to count normal instead of do the fast count because he wanted to make himself look better. I don't necessarily buy into that, but
Nick Patrick vehemently denied that.
Yeah, so he's saying I wasn't paid off. I'm just an idiot that can't do my job.
Pretty much.
This man had a job until, like, through the duration of WCW, by the way, and then still was employed by WWE for many years thereafter.
Yeah, but they made him get rid of the mullet, so screw that, Patrick.
Yeah, but it's just like, God dang it, Kenny Powers. What the hell? I don't know. If you don't know who Kenny Powers is, throw it in your Google machine. But to wrap all this up,
like I said, I only remember the finish. It's, it sucked, but it sent everyone home happy. You saw the crowd he repped when he won. Yeah. I mean, I didn't see anybody like bitching or complaining, like, oh man, no, that was a horrible turnaround. He shouldn't have won now. They were all happy. How dare he? So they were all happy. So it's like,
And that's what, I get the point.
I'm not sitting here saying, oh, let's stop complaining about it. It was stupid, but it still worked. That's why I don't believe this was any kind of a death knell of WCW. I believe what happened after it, by taking the title from Sting, I believe that probably hurt.
Well, let's get into that. I was at
the event where he won it back, by the way, in San Francisco.
Well, screw you.
So, just had to point that out.
Lovely. Well, the feud between Hogan and Sting continued after Starrcade. The outcome of the main event at Starrcade did not occur as planned, with the referee not making the pinfall fast enough. Many former WCW wrestlers who were at Starrcade believed that Hogan, through Eric Bischoff, instructed referee Nick Patrick to make the regular 3 count to protect himself and to make Sting and the debuting Bret Hart look weak. We already addressed that. To address this, the following WCW programming surrounding the controversy, replays of the count were shown, and the World Heavyweight Championship was vacated. A rematch was made, and Sting regained the title in a match at Super Brawl 8.
Could we give them some credit for, acknowledging that and playing off of it?
Yeah, not just being so what? Who cares?
Yeah,
Move on.
Got to give some credit where it's due. At least they made a thing of it, so,
Yep.
As for much crap they get, there is some good stuff there. That's,
Right. And this card was fine. It was fine. There was good stuff. There was weird stuff. There was, I don't know. It was just stuff. But yeah, man, that about wraps it up for Starrcade 1997. Do you have anything else to say about it before we close that out?
Yeah, it's underrated.
Is it? I mean, I hear
people crap on it all the time. I think it was a good card.
Yeah, that's true. I hear both ways. I hear,
Well, the
oh, it
fact
was
is,
great.
they don't.
and-
Okay, maybe let me reiterate. Maybe they don't crap on it, but they go straight to that finish, and oh, the pay per view
Right.
suck because of that. I'm like, that's kind of messed up.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Iron Man 3, had that horrible Mandarin twist, but it was a really good movie. Other than
Yeah,
that crap, and it's like, it's really
I didn't
not
regret
fair.
watching it.
It's not fair to judge the whole thing on one little part. It's
Yeah. And there were down
Injustice.
parts of it that we pointed
oh yeah,
out.
totally. But like, there was some great matches on here. I mean, even, like the opener was great. I thought the Luger Bagwell match was pretty good. Hennig and Page was pretty good.
For sure. Yeah.
Thank you all for tuning in and listening here pre-Christmas. And we're smack dab in the middle of Hanukkah, I believe. So happy Hanukkah out there to any of our Jewish listeners. And Merry Christmas to everybody else who celebrates Christmas. I mean, we're technically in Advent right now. We're a few days, or about a week. Yeah, we're about a week away from Christmas. So next week, I don't know if we'll have a new show. I'm going to try. I'm at least going to try to live stream, but we'll see how that goes. I'll keep all of you up to date. I know next Wednesday is Christmas Eve, so I will try to post something. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, I'm going to dig through the archives and see what I can find, because I'm unearthing all these old shows of Greg and I, all this old audio that you guys have never heard before, and I'm revamping it and uploading it for all of your listening pleasure. But anyway, if we don't see you before then, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy New Year. We'll see you next time. Later.
Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas.